Welcome to The Music Reel. I'm your host, Nicola Burton, and it's my great honour and privilege to be interviewing Dr. John Demartini today. Now, John is a human behaviour specialist. He's a leadership and performance expert. He's an author, an educator, and a business consultant, and the founder of the Demartini Institute. That was established in 1982 in Houston, Texas, and in 2006 it was expanded into Johannesburg in South Africa. Now, John's signature program, the Breakthrough Experience, has been presented in over 1,000 times across 63 countries. John's the author of over 50 books, translated into 36 different languages. He has created over 76 signature programs and has produced over 70 CD and DVD series in subjects like human behavior, achievement, leadership, business, mastery, and human relationships. Now, John, it is a pleasure to talk to you today. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me.
Thank you. You had that all memorized. That's great.
How are you going in lockdown? I mean, you're the man who, when I think of someone traveling across the world most days of the week, that's you. How have you coped with a situation where you haven't been able to do that?
Well, you know, I flew in from Tokyo. I was filming a movie there and also doing the Breakthrough Experience. I flew into Los Angeles. I got there 2 days before they did lockdown. So I was there for the weekend and all the programs got shifted. And I went online. And I have been online ever since. And I have been doing, I think, 7 breakthroughs online, 2 7-day programs, a 5-day program, about 100 webinars, and God knows, probably 200 interviews in the last 3 months.
Wow.
So I've just been doing everything online. I go jogging here in the morning when I'm here. For 2 months, I had a private hotel allow me to stay in the hotel with 10 people running the hotel. It's been closed down. They let me stay here, and I had a private cook, and I've had my own private villa in a hotel.
You poor thing.
So I can't complain. I've been blessed, and it has a lot to do with how we perceive things.
It certainly does. It really does. I mean, look, your life, your business has changed as a result. I have been interviewing people across the planet since March. So it was Friday the 13th when all of our industry stopped. Friday the 13th. How significant is that? We have billions of dollars of guaranteed income just wiped off the books. So you've got people that their livelihoods are determined on people being able to get together, celebrate, curate a live music experience that have no ability to do that. So they're angry. They're so angry. How do we leverage that anger to be able to create something new for this industry in order to, I guess, not even rebuild and recover, but recreate and reimagine?
Well, anger is unmet expectation. And this is going to be sounding shocking possibly, but I'm going to say it. I found I'm only angry when I'm comparing my current reality to something of what I used to have that I liked, or something I fantasize should happen in the future that I like, but I'm not in touch with what's actually going on right now. And whenever I have those expectations, I get angry. So the wisest thing, because it's not matching my fantasy of how it's supposed to be, or how it was scheduled and how it was arranged. So I look at what's actually fact, and I go from there. Okay, here's the facts. The fact is we're in lockdown.
Yeah.
Okay. The fact is that I'm not going to have that seminar live. I had 20 cities had to cancel, with all the hotels paid for, all the people. I had the same thing.
Yeah.
And I had 2 days to go online. And thank you, because I learned something new. I innovated. I got creative. I came up with new solutions. I met people, and the other day I had somebody in Madagascar attending my program online out in a field that had Wi-Fi. And I never would have reached that person if it hadn't been for this. So it's not wise to compare your current reality to a fantasy of how it was or how it's supposed to have been. It's wise to stop and look at how is it, and get grounded about the reality, and then ask the question, how is my current reality helping me fulfill what is most important to me in my life? How is it helping me move forward towards my mission? How is it helping me? How is it on the way, not in the way?
Yeah.
And how can I use this most effectively and efficiently to fulfill what's most deeply meaningful to me? If I ask that question and don't focus on being a victim of history, but be focused on a master of destiny, amazing things synchronously start showing up in your life. And it can change literally in minutes. I've seen this happen. We have an executive center, which is the forebrain, which is thinking in terms of foresight, that sees things objectively and is able to see both sides of things. And we also have an amygdala, which is a subcortical area of the brain, which deals with hindsight and deals with impulses and instincts and animal behaviors and survival behaviors, which makes us a victim of history. And we have a choice on which way we want to go with it. We can either see it as the devastation and run a story and tell people and then surround ourselves with other people with the same story and run a thing. Or we can get on with our life and say, okay, how do I use what's real right now most effectively? Bill Gates asks a question every day, which is a great question. How do I serve the greatest number of people today in the most efficient and effective manner, in a way that will inspire me with the resources that I have? How do I do that? And you know what's interesting is there were a lot of parts of me that resisted doing some of the things that I'm doing now, but this got me over the hump. And now I'm thankful for that. Now, if you're a musician, I don't know if you saw the new video of Mick Jagger yesterday.
No, tell me about that.
Okay, Mick Jagger, now I don't know what's true. You see things on videos, but I mean, it was a live video of Mick Jagger, but I don't know, the commentaries are not always true.
Okay.
He is working with the Rolling Stones and putting out they want to put out the greatest album the Rolling Stones ever did. And they're working on a new album, and he was performing with his, in his own house with a harmonica and creating his portion of the lyrics and the harmonica component in his, while other guys are in their private homes doing their part, and then they're mixing it and they're making this album.
Yeah. How great.
And they're meeting because they know each other. So they're meeting when they can meet, and they're not meeting, they're still producing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The wise individual will stop and ask, I got 24 hours a day. What is the highest priority thing I can do today that can help me accomplish a long-term mission? And if you're thinking of their long-term mission, you can be using this productive time in a way that is highly creative. You can write a new song, you can learn a new skill, you can go and learn about what's out there in the market now, what's the new market going to be, what talents, what technology I can be studying. You can be using every minute of your day still on an objective. And when the slingshot comes back, because right now we're under tension, but once it releases, you're going to have a flood of people that are going to want to go to a live event. Mm-hmm, and there's going to be the biggest return. If you're working productively now, there's going to be the biggest return to compensate for that little bit of gap there that there's going to be 6 months to a year or whatever. And that gap will be an insignificant piece compared to what you're going to make if you get creative now and use the time, because most of the time we get so busy that we don't have time for our creativity. We're working on it, and not on it, but in it.
That's right.
Right now is a fantastic time to actually get amazingly creative things done, writing lyrics. I'm working with a singer right now. I just got off with a singer just a minute ago. And, working on a new song, working on new content. If you're working in the staging, I'd be reading every single thing on what's the newest technologies on staging. How do I save efficiency on the future? How do I do technology so we can go live in a live performance and worldwide on an internet performance? So we're now reaching 400,000 people, 1 million people in a live seminar, not just, so it's televised. How do we learn all the technology to make us do that when it comes on? We now get way more income, less cost. And so it teaches us also to value saving a portion and investing in ourselves and having a value of cash returns. Mm-hmm. The Fortune 100 companies in the world all know to have at least 40%, at least 6 months worth of liquid capital sitting in reserve for these times.
That's right.
And smart people know to do that. I've always kept a year's worth of capital on reserve and buy into the crashes and take advantage of the crashes. So there's no setback on that. But if the people with foresight are planning ahead and they're using this time incredibly creatively, because it's the challenges that generate innovation and creativity. And it's the easy days that you keep going through the same routine and expect it to go on. When people think, oh, I'm successful because it's working, they keep doing what eventually doesn't work. So this is actually a great opportunity for people to actually use their time. So are they learning something new that's going to advance them in the next decade? Are they basically thinking highest priority creative things that's going to help them build new products, services, and ideas? Are they actually paying attention to what are people actually needing and looking for right now? And what are they going to need the second this thing comes out of hibernation? What is going to be the music they're going to do? What is the thing? If we look, and there's also things you can be doing. You can be interacting with your fans in other ways in the meantime and keeping them engaged. I've already seen people and musicians that are doing that. I know a lady that was doing dancing and everything else and just says, I just love you. I just want to keep in contact with you. I'm doing a special thing. And she got a dancing video put out to keep her fans activated. And that went viral. So there's creative ways of doing it. But we can't live in the past about how it used to be because you're going to be bitching. And you can't fantasize about what it is. The wise thing to do is what exactly is the fact? And then how do I use that fact to the greatest opportunity I can in this moment with the resources I have, the people? Because right now, this is a great opportunity to make contact with all kind of people on Zoom and be planning and putting together the most amazing event that's never been done with creative ideas right now.
That's right.
So when you come out of the shoot, you're ready and you're prepared and it's all ready to go. It's just turnkey. Let's go. Let's go make this thing happen. And let's go make 4 times the amount that we've ever made before. To me, that's the way I would use my time. Not be angry.
It's been a great reset as well. So many people have appreciated the ability to just stop and actually have the time, like you said, to innovate and pivot. My team have just been running for the last decade, and they've all said it's been really good to have this 3 months to reskill, to get healthy and sort of reimagine what I'd like to do. There's so many opportunities in this experience, and I think listening to you today, it helps people to understand what the value of anger actually is.
It's giving us feedback. I always say that when we're in our amygdala, our little animal center, where we get impulsive about fantasies of the future and instinctual from fears of the past, we're not in our most powerful state. And so I always say that anytime I have an emotion that's not thank you, I love you, I'm inspired, I'm grateful, I'm certain about my mission and I'm present with it. And if I'm not prior to, I'm in that emotional state. And the emotional state is, if I run that story and keep that thing going, I'm just going to get stuck.
Yeah.
So I stop the story. I have people that come to my breakthrough experience over the last few weeks. 7 breakthroughs in the last few weeks. And I just say, stop the story. You're not going to get anywhere running that story. You're going to myelinate your amygdala. You're not going to get your executive center on function. We want the executive center on function. And I get them over that. I get them focused on what's priority. And they go, I'm back into resilience. Resilience is the ability to handle. See, if we're addicted to a fantasy and we're frightened of a nightmare, we're going to fear the loss of this and fear the gain of this. And we're going to be distracted by fears. And we're going to be angry. But the second we get focused on mission, if you don't fill your day with high priority actions that inspire you, it fills up with low priority distractions that don't. If you don't fill your day with that which inspires you, it fills up with that which inspires you. It's a law. You can't avoid that law. So it's a matter of whether you're going to take command of your life and be master of your fate and captain of your ship and start sailing your ship in the direction of your own horizon, or you're going to let the world on the outside dictate. I said on the movie The Secret many years ago, when the voice and the vision on the inside is louder than all those opinions on the outside, turn the TV off, get the sensational out, get the things that try to grab your amygdala off, and go find out what your heart is directing you to do and what you can do that makes a contribution on the planet. Because there's never a lack of income to people who serve people's needs. And a musician serves massive numbers of needs. And all their teams and every ancillary business that puts on those performances, everybody's needed. And it's not going to not be needed. They're going to still be needed. But let's upgrade the skills and let's prepare for the greatest performances of the future and use this time. And if we do, there's going to be creativity, and there's no reason why that can't be going on right now.
And it's also an opportunity to upgrade the mechanisms of the industry as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
You said you had no idea how you were going to put everything online, and you did it in 2 days.
2 days. In 2 days, I was on doing the breakthrough experience. 2 days.
I think, I guess the challenge for these guys is the mechanism for the digital format has been structured so that if they run a digital format as compared to a live, it's like a 98% revenue loss. So it's an opportunity for us to, I guess, recreate that whole mechanism as a result of the need worldwide, because they never had to deal with it before. So here we are.
When I do the breakthrough experience, which is I've done 1,101 times now.
Wow.
In 65 countries now. And when I did that breakthrough online, I'm normally right there with people interacting, right?
Yeah.
But I usually have layers of people in these audiences, kind of like concentrics. Now on the Zoom, I'm right there with them. And now I can go and bring them right up and I can talk to them individually, which I couldn't do. And now I'm reaching people in Mongolia, places in Madagascar, I'm places of Kazakhstan. I'm reaching people worldwide right now that I didn't have, who didn't take the time to fly to London or didn't fly to India or didn't fly to the other cities I was going to. And now I'm reaching more people and we're having larger numbers. And so, and I've learned how to do it. I'm sitting in a chair. I'm not walking around necessarily, or I'm standing a bit, but anybody who does not, stress is the inability to adapt to a changing environment. And distress can erode you and age you. But eustress, which means pursuing challenges that inspire you. And by tackling the challenges that inspire you, you come up with creative innovations and genius. I was flying on a plane one time from Australia to Los Angeles. And there was a gentleman on the plane who was kind of down. And I could see he was kind of like down, and he was kind of, it's just written all over his face. And, that's what I see. I know people that way. And I started chatting with him and try to, lift him up a bit. And he was a famous musician.
Right.
I'm not going to give his name, but I will say he's a very famous musician. In the 70s and 80s, he was like at the top.
Right.
And he was in down mode. And I didn't know, but his entire band is in the first class with me.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, they'd done the Carrie Ann show over there in Australia. So I'm sitting there talking to him, and he started to open up, and he says, I've been kind of down. A friend of mine died, and I've been in funk, and I haven't come up with new music. I haven't come up with this. And I said, do you mind if I give you feedback? You don't know who I am, but I started talking to him. In probably 20, 30 minutes, I had him start to think differently. And then I said, what are you grateful for? And he goes, man, that's a good question. I haven't been focused on that at all. I said, what are you grateful for right now? And he looked over and he goes, my guys. Aww. I said, great. Who else are you grateful for? And I just started thinking, what else are you grateful for? And I made him go through a list, 21 things he was grateful for. And it started lifting his spirits a bit. I said, if you're not in gratitude, you're not going to be in the creative mode.
Yeah.
You can't. You're in your amygdala, and you're expecting something that's not so. And whenever you're comparing yourself, depression is a comparison of your current reality to a fantasy about how life's supposed to be instead of what it is. What it is what it is. Embrace it. Find out how you can use it to your greatest advantage. So I sat down and I made him go through the things he's grateful for. I took this biggest thing that he was upset about. And I have this grief process. I can help people dissolve grief. I did it right there on the spot on the person that died.
Wow.
And I cleared that with about 20 minutes. I got enough of it clear where he wasn't distracting him. And then I said, now close your eyes. And I want you to think of all those gratitudes. Just think about what those gratitudes are and what is that's in your heart. And he closed his eyes. And a tear came down to his eyes. And I said, that's it. What right now, because when you ever get a tear of inspiration, it's a guide to your mission.
Yeah.
What's in your head? What right now is the content of your mind as you're getting a tear? He said, for some reason, I just got a song. It came to me. I said, that's because you're in the vibrations and the resonation of gratitude, and that's where your genius comes. I said, let's go back. Think about what else you're grateful for, and let's go back and let's get that song moving. So right there on the spot, he started coming through with some words, and he called the guy in the back, and the guy came off his seat, came over to us, and sat on the little side of my seat, and they started sharing what it is, and they're trying to create some sound to it. What he did, and they created a song that was a major song that's in this world today. On that plane, out of a funk, that became one of their big songs. On that plane.
Wow.
And he got interviewed on an interview show one time. And it said, how did this song come about? He said, I met this crazy guy on the plane. This crazy guy that I was in a funk, and this guy started saying stuff, and it seemed crazy at the time, but I got me out of the funk. So a shift of perspective. Greatest discovery of our generations, William James said this, greatest discovery of our generations is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their perceptions and attitudes of mind. We have control over our perceptions, decisions, and actions in life. That's it, nothing else. If we take command and balance out our perceptions, prioritize our decisions, and take actions on priority, our life changes that moment. Not days, weeks, months, years. We start building incremental momentum towards something of novel origination, and creating original ideas that serve humanity is the most fulfilling thing we can do to make a difference in people's lives. If we're focused on ourselves, we're going to wallow in our pity party. If we focus on our mission and focus on the people and focus on what we're going to do to serve them, if everybody in the industry we're thinking, how am I going to serve those people the second we get back on the game?
Yeah.
The whole industry starts moving with creative new ideas, with new technologies. There's no doubt in my mind that you can go and now do a live performance, and you could be doing a television production, you could be doing an online global production, and you could have 1 million people watching a friggin' production today. And they pay different fees according to where they're coming from. And no reason why that can't all be done.
Exactly. So really, everyone, I hope you're listening to this, the opportunity for you is to look at where you feel like you have no control and see what you've actually got control over. And as John
start
said,
there.
Yeah, you start there. What do I have control over? If I feel like I've got no control in this, well, I can control how I feel. I can control my perceptions and work from there. Because once, as John said, you get into gratitude, then it all starts flowing.
Well, gratitude is simply a ratio of perceptions. If you're infatuated with somebody and you perceive consciously the upsides and you're unconscious of the downsides, they run you. They occupy space and time and mind to run you. Now you have a fantasy. And that usually has a fatal attraction, like Glenn Close and Mike Douglas. But then if you resent something, then you're assuming you're conscious of the downsides and unconscious of the upsides. And now it runs you too. Both of them occupy your mind and make it hard to sleep. But if you balance them by looking for the downsides on the fantasy and looking for the upsides in the so-called resentment and balance it out, nothing out there runs you. Your heart runs you. You're centric, not eccentric. And when your heart runs you, your heart intelligence and your wisdom, the love of wisdom or wisdom of love is philosophia. That opens doorways. But the amygdala, the animal, is an impulse, instinct, avoid predator, seek prey, stuck with not much evolution there. But human beings have the capacity to transcend that. The thing that distinguishes us from the other animals is the ability to extract meaning out of our events and find the mean and find the center out of all the polarities of perception that create emotion. And we have that capacity. And that's knowing the art of asking quality questions. The quality of your life is based on the quality of the questions you ask. And if you ask them, why does this damn thing happen to me? You're not going to get the same answers. You say, how specifically is what's happening to me right now? How's it helping me fulfill my mission?
Exactly.
And what is the highest priority action I can do right now to move in the direction of that fulfillment? And what exactly right now is true? And let me start with what's true instead of me running stories about what isn't. So there's all kinds of things we can be doing right now. And I believe that this industry is in the slingshot effect. And if it's wise, it won't let its rubber band break.
Yes.
It will soar higher and farther, because I guarantee that's what's going to happen. Because there's going to be a lot of people. I imagine what the size of these audiences are going to be when people finally get back out.
That's right.
They're going to be so ready to go and see something live, it'll be blowing minds. But let's use the technology that's being, there's a higher purpose of why this happens. It's teaching us how to use technology globally in addition to locally. So let's put the local and the global together.
It's a balance now. It's far more balanced. So have you got breakthroughs coming up that I can actually publish and promote so that the guys that are watching this can actually start engaging with you online? What's coming up for you, John?
Well, there's the thing to do is just probably send them to the website.
Yeah.
And if they want to know what's really priority to them and what's really important, there's a little value determination process on my website that they can take advantage of. It's complimentary, it's free, it's private, no one will ever see it except them. But going on there and taking a look, what's really priority to you right now? What's really important to you? Because if you say you have a mission, you know, we go around and we say we're immortal souls, but very few people write immortal goals. What really is your mission? And is it really immediate gratifying? If it is, you're not going to go far in life. But if it's a long-term vision, you're not going to let a temporary hiccup interfere with a long-term vision. The nothing mortal can interfere with an immortal visionary. And our job is to wake up our immortal self, the legacy self, the part that wants to leave a mark. When Mick Jagger's creating a song, the guy that was talking about it said, what would happen if the Rolling Stones created the biggest album that they've ever created in the history of rock and roll on their 50-something years of doing rock and roll?
Incredible.
Would that be phenomenal? Well, you know what? I bet you they pull it off. Because that's what they're working on. They're using the time to create a masterpiece.
Yes.
Masters focus on masterpieces. The masses, they get stuck in the illusions of gain and loss, but the masters always live in a world of transformation and creativity.
That sounds so good, to go from anger to hear what's possible. Thank you, John. I think that's been a great lot of information for everyone who's watching this to start think about, really dig deep to what's important to them, and start by doing the values factor, which is actually on John's website. It's a great tool to have. I use it with my team, our workforce, all the time. They're pretty used to it, and I think it's just a great tool to use. John, thank you so much.
Yes, and also if my website, as you know, is an educational website.
It is.
If they go on there, there's hundreds of interviews, hundreds of YouTube videos. If you need something to stimulate your thinking or whatever and think differently,
it's there.
Go to the website and just take advantage of the stuff there.
It's an incredible resource. Yeah. John, thank you for taking the time to talk to me, talk to people that are watching this. And I hope that everything just goes so well for you in this incredible opportunity that we're all facing in this post-COVID world. Thank you, John.
Yeah. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share. And if there's anybody out there that I can help, please know that I'm there to help. So thank you.
Wonderful. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks, John.
Thank you so much.